What if I told you that retiring early has a lot less to do with making six figures and a lot more to do with the habits you build in that first year? I'm 43 years old and I have made plenty of mistakes. I have overspent, taken on too much debt, bought things very impulsively, and I've had to completely reset my finances more than once in my lifetime and in my financial independence early retirement journey. If you're just starting your FI journey, these are the 5 things I wish someone had told me when I first got started. If you're new here, I'm Lauren. My channel is all about frugality, financial independence, financial literacy, slow living, minimalism too, but really it's about building a life with more freedom. Before we jump in, I want to say something. You do not have to be naturally good with money. You do not have to be a born saver or a born spender. I would say if I was born one of those, it would be a spender. And I have learned to enjoy saving, and I have become financially free, and I do not impulsively shop anymore. Thinking that I was wired to be a spender and not a saver was incredibly frustrating and disheartening. Financial independence, thankfully, is not about personality. It is really about the systems that you build. And yes, learning over time. Sometimes it's life experience that teaches. So from somebody who was a born spender who's become a saver, I'd love to tell you how to get started. Here are my top 5 beginner tips if you want to get started on your financial independence journey. You can start today, right now. The first book I ever read was Your Money or Your Life by Vicki Robin and Joe Dominguez, and I cannot recommend this book enough. Tip number 1 is to track your spending for at least 30 days. If you want to do it today, you can go back to your last month's bank statement and see, gather up all those Amazon purchases like I did when I wanted to reset recently. And I realized I spent $900 in 1 month back in November on Amazon, and I could not tell you what exactly I spent it on. The majority of it was household goods because I forgot paper towels at Costco or I forgot cat litter. So some of them, yeah, it's $2 more on Amazon, but it cost me $2 to drive to Costco and some of my sanity. So $2 for cat litter, worth it. Most people, myself included, have no idea where their money is going. Go back, see what you did for a month, get all those line items out, and please do not be afraid. This is the time. You're here for a reason. You're here because you want to change. I became financially independent because I didn't want to ever be a part of the system. In kindergarten, we went around and said what we wanted to be when we grew up. Everyone was saying doctors and lawyers and veterinarians, and I was like, y'all are all liars. I said to my teacher that I wanted to be a taxi cab driver in New York City because I wanted to meet as many people as possible. And yes, she called my parents. Write down every single purchase, including coffee. I highly advise pen to paper. I know there are my spreadsheet people out there. If you like Excel, fine, use it, do your thing. But I really advise pen to paper because it's like paying in cash. There's a body-brain connection to what we're really doing. Every subscription, every coffee, every Amazon purchase, write it down. I also like to have my impulse purchase category because when I just wrote down Amazon and I put down that $900, I didn't really know what was my necessary purchases from my impulse purchases. So yeah, separate them out if you can. If you can emotionally do it, separate them out. Awareness changes everything. Okay, here comes tip number 2. I want you to focus on your savings rate, not necessarily your income. There are a lot of things we can change today. Income generally is not one of them. Yeah, you could go out and drive Uber Eats for a couple hours and change it marginally, although I have some arguments against that with wear and tear on our vehicles. Don't get me started, I've done it. I have done Uber Eats, I've done it in early retirement. I did it recently when I was renovating my house in Florida. I re-signed up. I got a car that I paid off because one of my mistakes was financing a car. Huge mistake. I sold it, traded it in, lost money on it. Got a 2015 Prius B that is fully paid off. It is mine, that is my baby. And I put it on the app. I have the Uber Eats app. They send me notifications to make extra money all the time. I cannot seem to force myself to do that ever again. Maybe I will, maybe it's fine. So focusing on your savings rate, tip number 2, is that a lot of people think that early retirement is only for high income earners. And if you read the book, Your Money or Your Life, there is an example in the book of a waitress who retires in 11 years and she makes $60,000 a year. Granted, The book was written 20 years ago, but she was able to, I think she had 3 dresses. Now this is extreme. This is the book where I learned about minimalism too. The book is all encompassing. It is the early retirement book, and we're excluding Napoleon Hill here. Sorry, bro. I just think that this is the book, and they prove that you can do this. The woman who was the waitress was able to retire in 11 years because her savings rate was like 80% of her income. She was in her late 30s. She decided enough is enough. She probably wasn't going to go back to school. She was just going to be the best waitress she possibly could. She got her things down to, like I said, 3 interchangeable dresses. I don't think anyone really even noticed because nobody's thinking about us. We're the only ones thinking about us. That's why we don't buy stuff to prove to the world that we're important anymore. Frugality and minimalism will come later, but I digress. She had her savings rate at 80% at $60,000 a year, so she lived off below the poverty line. And if you want to check out a creator, Charles Broomfield, he's amazing. He makes a lot more than that, but he lives on less. So anyway, roommates, frugal foods, you know the drill. So in my opinion, your savings rate matters a lot more than your salary. I am speaking from a place of privilege here. I worked solid on my career where I was making a high income for approximately 10 years before I did retire early. So it's going to happen at whatever rate it happens at. I wish I could say I was a great saver. I was not. I'm a great saver now that I'm retired early. There are creators out there who believe that you can't go back in lifestyle. You 100% can. I'm very happy and grateful, a grateful heart, no matter where the space is, or if you have a place to cook your food, if you have electricity, if you have a bed and a roof over your head. I'm a person of simple upbringing and means, so maybe I have the ability to appreciate that, but I've known wealthy people, or children who grew up in wealthy households who've become middle class themselves and are perfectly happy and fine. And we know that the amount of money in your bank account does not have to do with what's in your heart and your happiness. So joy and wealth, somewhat separate. Granted, there are statistics about basic needs. Once you meet those needs, how much can happiness occur above that? The grand debate. I've already sort of talked about tip number 3, avoiding lifestyle creep and lifestyle inflation. I did not do this. I failed at this miserably. I made a lot of videos about doing a no buy and a low buy and failing them miserably. I got into minimalism and saving money and wrote down everything I spent when I read Your Money, Your Life, and then drifted away from it when I started to make a bunch of money. Granted, I still contributed greatly to the business and the retirement account, but I was a spendthrift again. I YOLO'd the crap out of it, and then I got divorced. YOLO went bye-bye. So anyway, all I'm saying is that you can decreep your lifestyle if you've crept up. You can still be happy, joyous, and free with less. I now am back to the place in Your Money, Your Life where I'm asking, is this purchase not only worth my life's energy, which is my money and time, but is it worth me taking care of? Because I am type B+, I am not type A. I do not want to spend my life cleaning a house. I do not want a big house. I want a simple, easy life where I can wake up and do whatever the heck I want to do. I actually want less today. And I think the experience of having too much and managing too much and feeling stress out of the abundance of stuff and things has made me very simple. I'm simple. That's okay. It's okay to be simple. Simple living, minimalism, check. So over on this side of this channel, we are debt free. I have gotten into debt, especially during the divorce, during the fourplex renovation. Divorce is crazy. Separation is crazy. Unmerging your finances is crazy town. I've been to crazy town and I no longer live there. And I'm grateful I no longer live there, but I've been there. And I'm not saying debt can't be a tool, because had I not gotten those 8 credit cards to renovate that house, I never would have gotten insurance. I never would have been able to refinance on time. I wouldn't have it rented out today. It wouldn't have beautiful new kitchens and wiring and air conditioners. And oh my God, I have a 136-year-old property in Florida. That's why I often say I am semi-retired early. Technically, I'm retired early, but real estate is not passive. Don't let anyone tell you that. I love it. I would much rather do this than any other thing. It's not passive. I do not know of a lot of really passive investing. Stock market, sure. Anyway, we'll get into that in another video. Tip number 4, if you're getting started today, start with $2, $5, 50 cents. If you can get an Acorns account, it's not my favorite. I've had an Acorns account before, but I will say it really worked. I needed help saving when I was transitioning out of my marriage into single financial picture. And I used the Acorns app, I used Robinhood, I've used E-Trade, I've used Betterment, Fundrise. There are so many platforms out there that you can get started today. Many of them have zero to no fees. I really like Betterment. I like the simplicity, I like the straightforwardness, I like the ease of use. I started off using E-Trade back in 2007 and 2008 when it actually cost $10 to make a trade. Thankfully, it wasn't long before they got rid of that. I liked E-Trade at the time because it was an educator's platform. Robinhood can be similar. There's links to articles. You can learn a lot, but if too much information is probably overstimulating for you, as it is for me today, I really like Betterment. I like Fundrise okay. I'm actually getting out of Fundrise for personal reasons. I already have I have a real property, so I'm already heavily invested in real estate. So I'm going to switch everything over to Betterment and Robinhood because I would rather diversify. And I'm a tinkerer. What can I say? I like to look and tinker. I just opened up a bond account for my kids for savings. I'm just going to save that way. I don't have the traditional 529 plan. I haven't done any Trump plans for my kids yet, but I also haven't fully formulated the way that I want to pass down wealth to my children. And I actually don't know if they even want to go to college. So that is a wait and see. We're gonna wait a little bit longer, but I do hope to contribute to them financially and help them out in this lifetime. It is getting harder and harder as millennials and Gen Z and Gen Alpha grow up to have a house that's theirs, or buy a car, or go to college, or start a business. So whatever they want to do, I will help them do it early. I listened to Morgan Housel on some of those things, and I really like his philosophy on that. I would rather let them have their inheritance when they can use it and when it makes the most sense early on, so it can compound, hopefully, if I teach them well. Tip number 5, I would recommend starting today, is building a life you don't want to escape from. You may be stuck in a job that you don't like. You may have very little time for joy and hobbies. But the most important thing about my FI journey was the excitement that I felt along the way. I listened to Esther Hicks, and she often talks about going on vacation. She said, if the end result of me going on vacation is ending up back at home, then why go? Why even go on the journey? If this is the manifestation, the whole end result of me going on the vacation is ending up back here, why go? And it's because it's about the journey. I think when I think about some of the best times in my life, some of them were the most challenging. The birth of my children, sending them off to school, raising my kids when they're little, teaching them things, going to school, earning a master's degree. A lot of the things that are worth having are things I created myself. I think that's part of the reason that lottery winners often end up broke or sad, because it just doesn't work like that. I think as human beings, we have this innate need to create, and probably why a lot of people who retire early turn to YouTube and content creation is because I don't want to stop making. I don't want to stop working. I think I inherently want to work. But if you can start focusing on the fact that today is the day that you make the decision to move towards financial freedom, there's more hope in your life. There's more of a pep in your step, especially if you do some of those things that you can do today. If I was starting over, I would get online and consume the Mr. Money Mustache blog. I enjoy his writing. I think it's dry and full of humor and witty and smart. I would watch his TED Talk on YouTube after this video. I would write down the 5 reasons I want to retire early and come up with a plan. I would get on ChatGPT or Gemini and say, this is my job, this is my savings, this is what I'm doing, this is my debt. Write me a plan for financial freedom within 10 to 15 years. I would write it down, and I would take $5 and I would invest today. I would open an account in Betterment, and I would have $10 to $15 come out on the first of every month or 2 weeks, and I would maybe open a Robinhood account and invest in a Vanguard dividend fund. I like dividend funds. I started over with my portfolio for investing. After my divorce, we liquidated our accounts and split them, so I had to start over. It's one of the things I wish I hadn't done, but anyway, and I would focus on cash flow. So for me, because I'm starting later in life, I did start investing in 2008, but because I had to restart over, to me, cash flow is the most important. I don't necessarily need a huge account. I'm not a financial advisor, so take this advice or not, I would probably invest in something like VIG, VUG. I would just find an ETF, and that's why I like Betterment. They do that for you. Index funds, full stock market funds. I would go to my library and I would find Your Money, Your Life, and I would read it again. I would consume joyful financial independence content like this. And yeah, I would just get started today. You can start right now, even if it's just one article online. So I hope you got something from this. If you like content like this, please like and subscribe. I have one rental property in Florida that is my whole income. And I would really like to use YouTube as a vehicle to hopefully make money someday to invest in a second and a third and however many more, and show you guys what it looks like after FI as well. So thank you, mahalo for being here, and hope to see you again soon. Thanks so much.